Hey guys, I'm back at it today. I just got done doing a GT review, so if you guys haven't seen that, head on over and take a look at that. I decided, since it was a nice day and we're not going to get many more of these until springtime, that I do a quick review here of the Meepo Hurricane Ultra with a bamboo deck. Awesome looking board, tons of power, heck of a lot different than riding a one-wheel GT. So I didn't realize I didn't charge it yesterday, so I'm about halfway down on the battery. So if I do some ride video, probably won't be too much, but we'll go over the board here. I did have an issue with it on my first ride, which was pretty much yesterday. I went for 13 miles yesterday, but within the first 2 miles, the bolts that hold on the motor mount bolts came loose. When taken apart, it did not have any Loctite on those bolts, so I added some blue Loctite, and it seems to have resolved the issue. I did contact Meepo and included the link to my YouTube video so they could check out what the exact issue was, but I'll go over that here too when I turn this camera around and I show you the board itself. So let's get this turned around. You guys don't want to be looking at me, you want to look at that board. Alright guys, so here is the Meepo Hurricane Ultra with the bamboo deck. Awesome looking board here. I went with the racing tubeless tires. They have some awesome CNC machined rims here. Inset. One of the complaints I had with this is trying to fill up this tire here with a little bit of air. It was kind of difficult for the pump to grab onto this thing. Maybe if I got one that screwed on to the end rather than pinched onto the end there, it might make that a little bit easier. But really good looking tires. I might have these overinflated a little bit. They're pretty solid. If I take a little bit of air out of them, it might make the ride a little bit softer. Then we got the bamboo composite deck. I went with this deck because it's more flexible. And here in Pennsylvania, we got some nasty roads, and I figured the flex of the board would help make a much more comfortable ride, which this is a very comfortable ride. So yeah, we got the front end here. We got some nice CNC trucks here. As you can see, I got the traditional Kingpin is what I went with. Looking at other reviewers and being new to the electric skateboard game here, they were saying that the traditional Kingpin is much better for higher speeds, and for how fast this board can go, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm not going to get into all the tech specs and everything on this board. Go on their website and you'll see all the tech specs. There's 4 different speed modes. The first one keeps you at 6 miles an hour. I believe the second one keeps you around 16. And then after that, I'm not sure what it goes up to. I have pushed it up a little bit higher, but seeing as this is my first time riding one of these, it is significantly different than riding a one wheel. Good in some ways, worse in other ways. Completely different riding experience, especially when you're using a controller to propel this and brake it and everything else, compared to the one wheel where you're leaning forward or leaning back to stop. I went with the gear drive. You should see that it's enclosed here, and then we got the 2 motors here. Again, I'm not going to go over the specs and everything else. If you guys want to know that stuff, go to their website. Go to one of these other reviewers here that might be able to give you some better information on it, because me, personally, I am brand new to this e-skate world, and I'm looking to get into it, and as time goes on, I'll be able to supply you guys with some better information. But basically, as with all my videos so far, I'm diving into something here. I went middle of the road for what I was looking to get price-wise, and to see if this is worth your hard-earned money. So again, I'm the simple nobody trying to help you, somebody determine whether or not your hard-earned money should go towards something like this. All right, guys. So let's see here. Let me get this board turned over so you can see the underside of the board, and we will check that. So now we got the underside of the board here. You can see I already got a little bit dirty here. So we got the front end here, no motors. This is not a four-wheel drive beast here. Again, I did tighten the trucks up a little bit. Out of the box, I felt it was a little more squirrely than what I like. I might even need to do it a little bit more. You got the battery compartment here. I believe this is where all the electric components are housed to get the board going and running and controlling it. You'll see the slits here in the battery compartment. From my understanding, these are here to allow the board to have more flex. Again, giving you a much more comfortable ride. Now, I don't know if having the carbon fiber board would lend itself to be better for higher speeds. I mean, I'm not looking to go racing myself. I'm not looking to go crazy, as in I've said in my other videos, I'm not looking to kill myself here. I'm just looking to have fun and, you know, get out there and give myself more of a reason to be outdoors. So, but you see here, you got the motor cables going from the electronics compartment back to the motor itself. Pretty clear cut here. This is the battery door. Pretty good cover on there. It's not the easiest to open and close, which is good, which means it's going to seal water out of there. Power button for the board. Once you get this thing up and running, just to power it up, you can just give it a little nudge forward and it seems to start right up. You don't even have to hit that power button. I have been noticing I have grease coming out of the seal here. I don't know, and you know what, I didn't pay attention when I took this apart yesterday if they put rubber seals in there. I don't recall seeing them, so there may not be rubber seals in there. So hopefully this is sealed up well enough to keep the grease in there. I did contact Meepo prior to purchasing this board, and they said it's little to no maintenance with these gear drives, so you're going to need to maintain grease inside there in order to not have any issues in the future with these gear drives. So I'm hoping they're correct on that. Now, what happened to me is within the first 2 miles, this motor, which if this is flipped over, the left side of the board came loose, and from here it separated, and there's multiple screws that come through this housing from the inside and go into this motor housing where your stator is going to be. So this was actually coming over and touching the other motor, and again was causing an issue. At that point, when this one came loose, it didn't seize up my motor or anything. Brought it back to my garage. You have to take this entire piece apart, including taking these bolts off, to get this open enough to get into that. Which case then, all these bolts that are here, these ones, there's multiple, all had blue Loctite on them. These ones, which go into the motor here, the stator unit, did not have Loctite on them. So I added some Loctite. Doesn't appear to have caused any issues for the stator. I didn't know if it was open to where it's going to go into any electronics or anything else. I just took a shot at it. So far, so good. And they have not came loose yet. Well, let me step back here. So after I fix this one, I go out, not even a mile down the road with my son. He's riding on his Pint X. This one goes loose, and then this tire seizes up. Won't even turn. So then I end up telling him to chill with the board. I hop on his board, run back to the house, get the truck, and pick up this board because I'm not carrying this even half a mile because this thing's pretty darn heavy. and picked the board up, and then had to do the same thing with this side. Once I fixed this, the motor that seized, no issues. Tire works fine. Then I went for an 11-mile ride, because said and done yesterday, I had 13 miles on this. No issues. All right. Yeah. So that's basically it. I mean, we got the controller here. It's got the thumb wheel. I actually really like this thumb wheel, like this controller. I don't see any issues with this. The screen's pretty small. Has a USB-C port for charging. Seems to hold battery. It does feel lightweight. Feels like if you dropped it, you'd probably bust it. So I probably should get a cover for it. They do sell a silicone cover for it. Probably would be a smart idea. Seeing as it probably wouldn't be too hard to fall off this board. I only had one issue where I got speed wobbles testing out the Speed 3, and luckily I was able to run out of it. But there's some major differences here. I'm not going to get into that in this video. I want to make this a short, quick overview of the board. And hopefully, like I said, this could be helpful to anyone that's looking at getting one of these boards. It seems premium, looks premium. You know, time will tell if this will hold up as well as the One Wheel GT does. I'm planning on getting into some videos here, comparing this and coming at this board from the perspective of someone who rides a one wheel. Okay, I've been riding a one wheel for a while now, and like I said, I have about 1,000 miles on the one wheel, and it's a completely different experience. Being a little bit older here, the one wheel, I love it, but I feel like the day's coming where the reckoning's going to happen, and I'm going to end up flying off that thing. And I was kind of hoping that this would be safer. So let me pause the video real quick and get it turned around so I can talk to you guys direct. All right, so again, the reason why I was looking at this board is the one wheel is definitely squirrely. It is significantly more nimble and easier to turn around in tight spots than what this board is. You can't do it. You can't turn on a dime like you can with the one wheel. And I was just looking for another experience, something more fun to do, and something to review for you guys. I was looking at the Ace Deck Aries board, which is quite a bit more expensive than this. 4-wheel drive, carbon fiber. I was looking at the Backfire Hammer. I was looking at some of the Evolve Hadean boards. All of them were quite a bit more expensive than this. And the ones that were around this price range that I was looking at didn't seem to be quite as good as this board. And at the time of this, there was a huge deal going on, which I think is still going on the Meepo website. And what's nice is you can build out this board how you want. You can go with the belt drives, the gear drives, carbon fiber board versus the bamboo deck, double kingpin, single or traditional kingpin. Different tire options out there. They have a lot of options. It's pretty cool how you can build it out. From what I've seen, except for maybe X-Way, because I was looking at the X-Way Atlas Pro 2, which I would love to review one of those boards, but again, the price is up there. You know, it looks like a pretty solid board. And maybe with your help and your subscriptions here, maybe I can get enough traction that I can review that board eventually. But we're working on it, and hopefully we'll get there in the near future. This board definitely is more stable going over bumps. I mean, the one it's an entirely different experience than riding the One Wheel GT. Power-wise, they both have a huge amount of power. This has more power, at least speed-wise. It's gonna, and you don't have to worry about nosedives. On the GT, you can outrun the board, and your nose is gonna go down. You're gonna go flying. You're gonna get hurt. I've crashed my one wheels pretty good twice. The Pint X, when I first started riding, I crashed at 17.5 miles an hour, and that hurt. Recently I crashed the GT, and that was just I was on a dirt alleyway that was kind of dark, and I didn't see the pothole, dropped into it, hit the other side of the hole, and it bounced me up, and I came completely off the board and just ended up landed on my left hip and rolling, and luckily I was fine, just some bruises and scrapes, but I'm kind of hoping that I might even be able to use this as a commuter back and forth to my office. But that being said, we got a lot of riding to do on here. I only got 13 miles in. We need to do some more and see where we can go from there. I'm hoping this board will last the test of time as good as the one wheel did. One thing I think that's going to be a little bit better about this board too is I'm pretty much done. Like, I don't see, with the one wheel you can dive into so many different accessories, spend a ton more money, and make the board way more expensive than what you bought it for, and the board's already extremely expensive. This is about the price of a Pint X, one wheel Pint X. So, and you're pretty much said and done unless you want to change out the bushings, which I keep. I'm on a couple Facebook communities, and everyone suggests Riptide bushings, so I may have to look into them. I don't see myself changing the tires out. I like the tires. One thing with this gear system is, from my understanding, it's proprietary. So right now there's not a lot of tire options outside of what Meepo offers for the gear drive. So if I wanted to change my tires to something else, I'm gonna have to go directly through Meepo, which kind of sucks, but depending on their quality, which is right now up in the air because of these motor mounts, you know, if the blue Loctite holds, everything else seems pretty solid here. I did reach out to them, kind of waiting to hear back to see if there's any resolution on their part, or if they're just going to say, hey, great job, you fixed it, let us know if there's any further issues. We'll wait and see what they have to say. Other than that, I might throw some ride video on here. I might not. Like I said, I'm still pretty new at this thing. With using the remote, it's a little herky-jerky. I haven't got to the point where I can positively always accelerate and decelerate smoothly on here. Another funny thing with this is the faster you're going, it feels, at least to me, maybe this is because I am a one-wheel rider, it's easier to handle. If you're going slow and you're leaning, trying to get your turn, whatnot, it's like I want to lean right off of the board. I've also found myself with accelerating and decelerating having to consciously lean into it to hold myself in the right spot, because I go to stop and I kind of want to lean back like I'm on a one wheel, and it's just a natural reaction because I put so many miles in that. Well, then it makes me kind of want to fall off the board because I'm stopping with my thumb wheel here and I'm leaning back, and it's definitely gonna, it's a little bit of a learning curve, and we'll get there, and hopefully you guys will join me for the experience and the ride, and this and these videos that are coming up will help you determine whether you want to spend your money on this. Also going to get my son on the board. He was riding it the other day too, and you can get his perspective on it. He doesn't ride the one wheel as much as I do, and even he was able to tell all the differences and nuances with riding an electric skateboard versus riding the one wheel. So stay safe out there. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Hope you guys have a great New Year's. I might take this back to where I just rode the one wheel. Not quite sure because I only have half battery on this board and I haven't really done a range test on it yet. So we'll see. But I'm hoping to include a little bit of ride video on here, and we'll go from there. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment, If you have any suggestions for me to help me out with this board, please list them down below. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a great day. Alright guys, so I don't know if you can see, but this has got a good amount of flex in the board here. Anyone who's used to the electric skateboards here, if it looks like I need to change any adjustments in the trucks or whatnot, please comment below, let me know, give me an idea. I've been keeping my stance kind of far back on each end of the board here. There's a little bit of a bump, a ledge at the front and back of the board before you get to the nameplates that they have that also attach the trucks, which I kind of feel like it locks my feet into place a little bit better. So again, if I'm doing something wrong, hey, comment down below, let me know. I can use the info. Let's see here. Where am I on? Alright, I got this thing on speed 2. I'm not going to do anything too fast since I'm still not used to this board yet. Don't have a ton of miles on it. So we're at the same place I started with the one wheel. Something I would love to see on this too is some fenders, which I think I saw recently. Meepo is in production with it. Right now I can just see, like, if I'm going through some dirt going on the road, because this board is supposed to be able to go on the road. That I'm going to toss some dirt on my shoes or on the top of the board and just be making a mess here. So right now I'm only going about 10 miles an hour. I'm hitting seams here on the sidewalks, and the bumps are not bad. So here we go. I'm going to make a right turn here with the one wheel. And here I am slowing down. I definitely am a noob on this thing. So feel free to make fun of me in the comments down below. But I'm still not, got my sea legs here and trying to figure this thing out. But on the one wheel, it's so easy to make that turn. What's funny is the more I think about what I'm doing on this board, the worse I do it. If I stop thinking about it and just kind of think of it more like the one wheel and just ride, I seem to be doing better with it. Same with my son. My son said the same thing. You know, you're thinking about it so much and you're trying to figure this thing out that you end up screwing yourself up the way that I think. I had a lot of wind noise in the prior video. I'm going to have to figure out what I can do with the Insta360 camera here to help prevent some of that noise. I want to see if I can connect my AirPods to this thing. Maybe that'll help with some of the wind noise. So here I'm at top speed on gear 2. I'm at 16 miles an hour. Super steady. No problems at all with this. I'm definitely not going to make this too long of a video here because my hands are cold holding this camera out here and holding the remote. I will say the connectivity of the remote is really good. I've actually had this in my pocket riding the other day, keeping my hands warm, and it worked great. From my understanding, I mean, carvability is decent on this thing. But the double kingpin, I guess, is the way to go if you want to be a little more carby with it. But then it makes it a little more sketchy when it comes to speed. So that's why I went with the traditional kingpin, is I'd like to be able to get up to where I'm riding this at a greater speed here. Let's go look at this road. We're just going to make this a short one on some side streets here. Now, I do question with the ground clearance how this is going to be trail riding. You know, am I going to beat up the battery compartment there pretty bad? It's definitely a concern. I may have to keep this mainly just an on-road vehicle rather than off-road. And I don't know how these tires are going to be either. So, well, and there you can see I stopped the board and I leaned back into it. which is probably because of the momentum pulling me forward, but at the same time, on the one wheel, you got to lean back to brake. Now, something else, hopefully you guys will be able to see this. If I hold the brake, and it's doing it real light right now, is it's pulsing. I don't know if that's a problem with the board, if I got to change something in the settings here with the braking, but it pulses if I hold that brake. I don't know if it's, I honestly don't know what the problem is. So if you guys know, please comment down below and help me out with this issue. I'm going to call it quits right there for today. I plan on doing more videos. Like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.